Four parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really wanna talk about this. Four parents, 9 kids, I'm queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here. Four parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really wanna talk about this. Four parents, 9 kids, I'm queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here.
Dave, hand me a beer.
Hey, episode 22 of No Dysfunction here.
Hello.
And the subject we'll be discussing today is how to handle your older teens' weird sexual fantasies. Just kidding, that's a lie. Because today's topic is honesty. Tricked you all right into it.
That was good.
I see
that's
what you did there.
So, might not be as exciting as what we originally thought it would be, but honesty is still an important subject.
It is. It is something that has been something we all have had to figure out in our lives, and every human, I feel like, is on a journey with honesty, and teaching that to our kids is really, really difficult. So how do we do it, guys?
We'll probably have a few minutes at the end for the sexual fantasy.
At least. Yeah, I planned on holding on to 5 or 6.
Okay.
5 or 6.
Oh,
All right. Oh, 5 or 6. Honesty.
I got nothing.
I ain't got shit.
Yeah.
You see what had happened
It's
was
not my best subject.
Oh, man. Is it anybody's? You know, we're all out here surviving trauma, trying to be better.
If we said it was our best subject, we probably lying.
Yeah, that's true. Or is it? I don't even know anymore. I'm confused.
I heard somebody say that if your friend tells you they don't pee in the shower, then they're a liar.
correct.
That's got to be true.
It's like when someone tells you that they've never masturbated.
Yeah, it's like
They're
if
lying.
your friend
Wait,
tells
hold
you
on.
they don't pee in the shower, you don't trust that friend because they're a liar.
Are you guys trying to tell me that everyone at this table is masturbated?
I didn't
Yes?
masturbate until I was like 28, but yes.
That's actually a true story.
Were you there?
No. I don't think so.
Be honest.
I've only ever peed in the shower a couple times because I really couldn't hold it anymore.
Really?
But I
Okay.
wasn't done showering.
It is a staple in my
Are
life.
you kidding?
It makes the shower stink. I didn't
Really?
want to do it more than twice.
Oh.
Yeah, but when you put
Smell
your
like
body
hair.
lotion, just like soap and
Just washes
hair, well,
right
you don't have
down,
hair,
then
but
it gets cleaned. No. When we first started dating, she was like, "Tell me something you've never told anyone else." And that was it. I was like, "Oh, this will be good because I've never told that to anybody else." And she was like, "Boring. Everybody does that." I was like, "Oh, I guess I don't have cool secrets. I'm
not
sorry."
Boring.
exciting.
Everybody does that. Shit, I'm missing out.
Apparently not my ex-husband. He doesn't do that.
Yeah, we just learned.
Or my ex-husband's lying.
You're cleaner
remember-
than all of us.
I remember one of my sisters, one of their roommates at BYU got married, and like when they got together, when the girls got together after like the wedding night or whatever, she's like, "Well, when we took our shower together for the first time, he peed on me,
Oh my god! Wow.
and I didn't know how to handle it."
Divorce.
Yeah, that's
Annulment.
the one and
I
only.
don't know how to handle it either.
I'm a freeze guy myself.
I'm leaving.
I would have just, I would have just stood there. Please make it stop. Please make it stop. That would have been
I'm a fight. If I'm a fight or flight or freeze,
insta cower. I instantly just like, no, don't.
But I remember she said she looked up at him and he was just like grinning at her.
Okay, then divorce. Divorce is the only option at that point.
There is a whole other intention
Okay,
behind that moment
yeah.
than just, oops, I got a tinkle.
and if I'm assuming correctly, these are LDS people. She was probably like never intimate with this person before marrying
Right.
him, so it was a whole shock.
I don't.
Wow.
Wow.
Withholding
Well,
names
how are they
to
doing
protect
now?
the innocent and
Are they
guilty.
still married? Do you know? Are you friends on Facebook?
Hell if I know. Hell if I know.
I could take a guess.
But I remember he was my phlebotomist once at one of my cancer appointments when I was 18.
Oh wow.
Like I just walked in and I was like, oh, thank God. You know, finally somebody that's
I
going to
was
know how
there.
to do their job because I'm so tired of getting poked and prodded. Nobody can find a vein. And this poor bastard,
Dude.
like, he must have
Oh,
poked me
no.
like 25 times
his
and then
first
finally
day.
came.
It was brutal
Was he-
because
I felt
that was
so
one
bad.
of those moments where I could just see it all over Jake. Because it's like, there's no making this better. He's bleeding all over the place.
Was he smiling at you the whole time he did it?
Standing over you.
He was grinning at
He's
me.
like, I keep missing.
That was crazy.
He starts being.
Okay, honesty.
Oh wait, that wasn't a real story? Oh no, I see what you did. Okay, back to this. Okay.
Oh my gosh. I remember that, and that was painful to watch, but more painful to experience, I would imagine. I remember finding out that Santa wasn't real when I was a kid, and that shit fucked me up. I literally was devastated, felt so lied to, and it was traumatic because I equated Santa Claus with like on the same level as God. So I was like, well, if Santa doesn't exist and I've never seen him, where's God?
See?
You were onto something there. You should have stuck with it.
But that made me really not want to lie to my kids about that whole thing. So that was one thing that we did Santa. We still do Santa. Everything's from Santa on Christmas, but it's like, it's a fun tradition, but Santa's not real. I think it's kind of weird when parents go overboard on like convincing that if you don't behave,
I'm gonna call
Santa's not
Santa.
gonna. But yeah, I don't know.
It's a good example.
Same
with
thing
the
with the Tooth Fairy.
And the Easter
These
Bunny.
are lies to our kids. Are they okay to tell? Easter Bunny? My dad told me that he met the Easter Bunny when I was little. He told me that when he was 14, he was visited by the Easter Bunny. And I believed him completely. I am very gullible.
It'd be
Same.
really funny if he told that whole story like in the vein of Joseph Smith's first vision or something. Just
Well,
like,
I do
the
think
Easter
it's
Bunny
funny that they
came
were
to
both
me.
14.
There were two Easter bunny persons above me. Like, it'd be great.
That's hilarious. When it comes to kids being dishonest, little kids, and then it's like little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems for sure. And it's not something that I think anybody can have perfectly honest kids, because this is just part of our journey of figuring life out. And I think a huge part of it for me was letting go of taking it personally when my kids do lie to me or were dishonest with me back in the day or whatever. I would take that very personally and make it this whole thing. And I think it's important that we teach our kids that honesty is literally everything in relationships. It is everything. And if there's not full fluidity and transparency and integrity in any relationship, then it crumbles. And so to not expect perfection of our kids, but to just teach them that if they truly want to be happy, they need to be able to look themselves in the mirror, and look everyone else in their family in the eye and in their life, and be pure and open and honest and whatever. And that's just the way to be happy. And because dishonesty lives in the body, it's tension in the body, and it's tension in relationships. Even if the lie is not brought to the surface, it's creating tension in relationships, And so the more we can cultivate honesty in ourselves and with each other, the better. And forgiving each other when we make mistakes.
I do agree. I have a real hard time with dishonesty because I have a lot of trauma in my past from people who have lied to me. And I hold on to that very tightly because I do believe people and the value of their word. because I feel like if you love me and I love you unconditionally, there's no reason why we should be lying to one another. But throughout my life, people that I have loved unconditionally have horrifically lied to me, and that trust has been broken. So now, as like a middle-aged woman, like, you know, in a healthy marriage, I have great children, I have great friends, great co-parents, I still feel that sting of someone when they tell a lie. It is very hard for me to get past, and I feel like when trust is broken, how can I look at you in the eye? How can I trust you? How can I feel safe? Because how do I know that the words that are coming out of your mouth aren't going to hurt me like I've been hurt in the past? So honesty, absolutely what you said, Toby, is crucial. You need to be honest with yourself and the people around you, but I every single day am dealing with what I felt in the past, and day to day if somebody lies to me, you know, like how am I going to recover from it? How am I going to feel like I can hear you and listen to what you're saying to be valid? So that's something I personally struggle with and I'm working on for myself.
It's the whole thing about trust takes years to build and one moment to break.
Exactly. And we tell our
Very
kids
real.
that frequently.
Yeah, that it's a real thing, and honesty in relationships paramount. I think most people would say number one thing you have to be able to make it work. And it's interesting because as I was thinking about this topic, I was thinking specifically from a parent to a child and child to parent relationship. Honesty, I think, takes on a little bit different form, specifically from child to parent, in that we're all here, we're all going through some trauma, we're learning, we're, you know, having to figure this thing out. And I think that as a child, lying is one of the first things you realize will keep you from punishment, you know?
yeah.
And that's a really impressionable thing to a child, you know? And nobody, like, sure, later on, we've started to try and do it differently with, you know, conversations with kids and creating a safe space with communication, and that they can understand that, like, if you're just honest with us, like, it's so much easier and so much better all the way around. But I don't know a parent, and I've never met one, who's ready to do that from the get-go, you know, who, like, hasn't gone through some trauma themselves and is still they're trying to survive with the kid they just had, and, you know, whatever. They want to make sure that child's okay. It's funny how it almost always stems from, like, safety. It stems from wanting to help, wanting to support. And that's what I was going to say, is that if we can just create safe spaces earlier on, like, it probably wouldn't be fully avoided, because everyone grows up and learns in other relationships, like, oh, if I'm not honest here, that'll save me some pain, you know? But specifically, child to parent, what we always have tried to express in teaching them about honesty is, like, it's not the here and now that's the big deal. Like, it doesn't affect my day that much if you took $5 out of my wallet or ate something and you're lying about it or whatever it is. It's trying to impress on you that, like, if you don't start figuring that out now, you will do it when you're older, and it will have bigger consequences. It will be different relationships. You know I'm your dad, you know I'm your mom, and I'm not going anywhere, and you're trying to get out of it, and it makes total sense. But it also makes total sense that as parents, we want to make sure you're understanding why this is such a big deal and learning it now instead of trying to figure it out with the first love of your life or your children or whatever it is, you know? Yeah.
I like that. I agree with it. To add to it, though, I know that when we've had, or when I've been lecturing our kids about different dishonest situations, like, I try and grill in them that when it comes to honesty, like, yes, you know, I am your dad, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm always going to be here. But, like, when it comes to honesty in relationships, it absolutely has to be a two-way street. Like, you guys need to learn from this experience now, and it needs to stop. Like, I can't forgive you for the next 60 years if you keep on lying to me. Like, eventually I'm gonna have to give up.
I have to believe you.
You know, it's just is what it is. Like, yes, I'm your dad, but, you know, this is a two-way street relationship, and honesty has to go both ways. It just has to. So, yes, you're young, you're a teenager, or you're an adolescent, you're figuring it out. I am going to forgive you, but at some point, like, you've got to figure this out, and it should be today. Like, if this relationship matters to you, whether it's from child to parent, or boyfriend to girlfriend, or spouse to spouse. If you want the relationship to last, then lying should have no room in that relationship at all.
Absolutely. Yeah, and even like exactly what you just explained, like you said, like, yeah, I'm your dad, not going anywhere, but it's going to look like a completely different relationship. If you can't be honest with me, I have to have a boundary and protect myself and be like, if there's something comes up, I'm going to behave differently towards you, knowing there's a very good chance you're not being honest about something, and that absolutely will affect your relationship with your family for the rest of your life.
All we can hope for our kids is they figure it out before, they have to feel the sting of it affecting one of their major life relationships, like we want our children to have as healthy and happy a life as they can. And I feel like the things that we teach our kids really come down to that being the motivation and intention. And I think one way we can teach our kids, and if I could go back, I would definitely do more of this, is mirror work, because I do believe that honesty starts with a relationship with yourself and being honest first with yourself and facing yourself. And so to teach little children to love themselves and to have a good relationship with themselves. And then also one thing we did do that really helped, I think, is the bubble, which we've talked about on the podcast before, but just having a safe space where the kids can say, hey, I want to go into the bubble, and when they're given permission to go in the bubble, that space has zero consequences whatsoever, and it is that protected no matter what comes out in the bubble. And having that did help us, I think, but it doesn't protect us from all the dishonesty, that's for sure, but it did help.
Yeah, it did.
Reminds me of a time I was having a conversation with Jonah a while back, and there was some dishonesty going on, and I just lost my train of thought. Anybody else got anything?
I've been there. Yeah.
We've all been there.
Things all the time. I think an important aspect to look at it too is the parent to child part of it. I think parents around the world can empathize with they're like, what were you guys doing, or whatever, and I don't really want to tell them everything I was doing or whatever, and it's like, we did this, and maybe that was part of the truth or something like that, and navigating that and being like, what is appropriate to share for truthfulness and honesty, and what is actually there's a line that you shouldn't be sharing certain things with your kids or whatever it is, I don't know. But being integral in that and trying to make sure the way we communicate with our kids all the time isn't just as deceptive in the way they're deceiving us or something, and it's tough. It's hard to navigate because it, again, all so much of the time comes from a place of safety, trying to, make sure kids are safe in one way or another, and how much of a job is that of ours as parents to determine what that level is, It's tricky.
It is tricky, and there's no right or wrong way.
I think I remember now. It had to do with disappointment. So I was trying to convince Jonah by just lecturing him until I was blue in the face. What do I have to say? What needs to come out of my mouth to convince you that honesty is the best policy? Even when it comes to punishments, it doesn't matter what you did. If you're honest with me about it, your punishment is going to be less than if you are dishonest about it and end up getting caught anyway. And it had to do with disappointment. He was like, even if I don't think I'm going to get in trouble, there's still the factor of feeling like I'm going to disappoint you and wanting to cover up whatever said situation is because I don't want to disappoint you. So it's something that we need to figure out and need to discuss on how do we actually convince all of our kids that even if we're disappointed in a situation, that honesty is still the most important thing, and we got to go. We got to go with honesty if we want to. What's best for our relationships and what's best for our own inner self.
Because I think you can work through that feeling of being disappointed and talking through it much easier than trying to figure out, you lied to me, how am I going to trust you again? That is like two opposite ends of how the pendulum swings. And for me personally, I'd rather have that conversation on disappointment and how we're going to work through it than anything else.
And I know from personal experience, really, really, really tough personal experience, that telling lies because you're just going to disappoint the person, like, it's much, 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 much worse to go down that road rather than just being honest about whatever it is that's disappointing. And it kind of goes on to the previous podcast when we were discussing what if your kid comes out as anything other than straight, and you were saying, Toby, how awesome would it be to just have a household to where there is no coming out, like it just is, we all love each other, love is love, and it doesn't need to be a big da-da-da. Well, it's like the same with honesty. Like, what if our kids grew up in a household where it's like, I don't know, kind of reminds me of that movie, The Invention of Lying. Like they seriously feel so safe in their household that they don't even get tempted to lie.
Yeah. No, I love that point. It's really good, and it brings me back to the disappointment aspect of it and how that's tied probably to feeling loved, A child growing up with their parents may not understand when they say something and they can tell their parents are disappointed in them, that does not equate to I love you less, And so anything we can do as parents to mitigate that from a young age of, and it literally explaining it, directly, like, man, that's really tough to hear, but I'm so grateful you told me the truth, and I'm so proud of you for telling me the truth, and I hope you understand that this doesn't make you any less in any way, and doesn't make me feel any differently about you, and other than more proud that you're brave enough to tell me something that was difficult. I'm so proud of you, Like, sometimes, probably the vast majority of the time in society, the way parents are out here reacting is blah, 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 how could you do that? You know better, and all these things, and it can't come across any other way but, like, oh, I think they love me a little less. Like, that's what the disappointment feels like, and that's what it feels like it's in, and so the more we can just really create that safe space of, no, it's okay, tell the truth, like, so proud of you, even if some difficult things are coming, and a lot of it might be natural consequences, like, there's some of this stuff you just have to deal with because you made choices, but it doesn't change my support for you or love for you or belief in you as a human being. More of that.
I completely agree. When I look back on the environment we created for our kids when they were younger, it was a container where there was the potential to be disappointing, instead of just being little humans running around, doing things, going too far sometimes and having to learn. And, there was this expectation of behavior, and if the behavior didn't happen, there was a consequence they were afraid of. And so I love what you both are saying. If they're, just like with the coming out, if there's not an expectation that is bad to be anything but straight, or if there's an expectation that it's bad to just be a human, that mistakes are bad instead of just little gifts that we learn from, and again, if I could go back, I would create a much safer space for little beings to run around and be free to make mistakes. So, like, if little Journey, misbehaves, it's not going to be, or if I was babysitting little Journey, I'm going to, like, redirect, and, it's going to be different than, no, I told you not to do that, and now you go to timeout. You know, it's more of a fluid, flowing, explorative environment, and I think that does create safety, that people can be more honest and human and just fuck up sometimes, and it's totally okay, and we're all still loved, and we're all still safe. I don't know.
No, absolutely. I think it should be on parents' minds more and more of a role of parents to see what they're doing and what they can do differently to do those things. Like, as you were talking, I just thought of like, oh my God, like people who guilt trip their kids are just a breeding ground for dishonesty. Like, if you're every
Absolutely.
day trying to make your kid feel bad for what they did, they're gonna lie to you left and right about what they're doing, you know? And so understanding that even if your child is very different from you and likes different things or feels differently about things you feel really strongly about, that should be let go, and you love your child as they are for who they are. But it's all easy in words, you know, and in theory. It's getting into those situations where you as a parent have the fear of whatever happened or whatever's going on, and you jump the gun and voices are raised or getting really upset, or, you know, making them feel bad inadvertently or advertently. And the more you can do to minimize that.
Because ultimately, it's not about the punishment for any of us. It's not like it feels good to give a punishment. It's just we just want them to be happy and healthy and, you know, have happy relationships and safe in their lives. So, yeah, the more we can cultivate safety for our kids from the time when they are tiny, and less fear, more safety, the less of a problem honesty will be, I feel like.
I agree.
Because it's the same in all of our adult relationships. You know, like it's all the same.
And just the weight that comes with it, because when you're lying, like every time you're having a conversation with the person you lied to, like you don't want to slip up. It's a weight and it's heaviness, and you just don't want to have to put yourself through that.
You got a whole chart in your head of
Yeah, like a flow chart, like
Jim Gaffigan. Jim Gaffigan has a really funny joke about that. He's like, do you ever try to mix two different friends groups? Or like you're out with one friend group and see another one, and you have to be like, okay, listen, real quick. These guys don't think I drink.
oh shit.
That's the kind of life you don't want to be
Yeah, that's
living.
right.
And they call me Shrek. And I always laugh.
Yeah, that's right. It's fine. It's fine. I know you guys, I yell at you. They can do it.
That's great.
Wow.
Well, this has been a good chat, guys.
Yeah, thank you as always. Let's spin the wheel.
We should have a whole episode of this wheel just spinning.
Yeah.
That should be a video, actually. We should. Why don't we have that
There
as
it
a
is.
teaser?
Tiff.
That's a teaser.
Is it Tiff?
I think it's
Nah.
It was
Tiff just lets it
totally
go
not
again
Tiff.
until it's someone else.
Now it's Jake.
It's Jake now.
Yay!
Hold on, let me get you the
Draw
magic
a
goal.
listener
You want me to tell a bunch of
question.
lies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I love all of you.
Not.
This is supposed to be a question.
There might be a joke about
We don't know. It's
a
whatever
bad
you
joke or a
pull.
listener question. What could be either or?
Yeah. Because I accidentally put 5 bad jokes in there from ChatGPT.
Can I just tell a joke?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to hear you answer a listener question too.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone considering plant medicine as part of their healing journey?
Oh, wow.
Oh.
It's a weird ass joke.
I got the
I thought
punchline.
it was
actually.
hilarious.
Yeah. You don't get because of the healing and the.
I feel like this question was specifically for somebody that is not me.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to use it.
Do you want to
Anybody
pull
else want to
again?
tackle this one?
Yeah, I'll get it. Maybe read it one more time. Oh, that's right. The advice I would give is follow your instinct about it. Don't listen to what anybody else, literally anybody else, says about it. If it feels like something that is calling you, then research it and check it out and see how you feel about it.
Definitely. And if you do decide to do it, then make sure you're well supported.
Yeah.
Is it marijuana that you're talking about?
I would say any plant
any
medicine.
plants,
Any
there's
Yeah.
plant medicine?
Like, if you're
Yeah.
really looking for it for your healing journey, lots of different plant medicines out there from what I understand with people doing healing journeys with. So yeah, that'd be my advice. Understand it for yourself. See if it feels right. Don't listen to what anybody else pushing you one way or the other says, like, oh, don't do that, or oh, you should definitely do that. All of those opinions come from their own experience and perspective, or a friend they knew, or whatever, you know. It's got to be something that feels right in your soul, is my take.
Yeah, and I like that you said do your own research,
Yeah.
because it's all out there for you.
Would it ever be appropriate to put them all in the same, like, green breakfast smoothie?
Absolutely.
All of
Wow.
them.
Anytime.
Ayahuasca.
I want to have breakfast at your house. That's what I just learned.
Joke time.
Please don't tell me it has a doorbell.
What is the difference between Dubai and Abu Dhabi?
Dubai and Abu Dhabi. I don't know.
The people in Dubai do not like the Flintstones, but the people in Abu Dhabi do!
I did not see that
I could
coming.
not remember the punchline, but I feel like
Yay!
that was from the cruise over a year ago is when I heard it.
Yes.
Someone was telling it on there.
Oh, that
I think
is
it was
great.
already a famous TikTok from a dad that like could not get the joke out. He was just laughing
that's
his
what it
ass
was.
off so
You
hard.
showed
and his
us it.
face
That's
was
right.
beet red, and it was like a 2-minute video for that short ass joke because he just couldn't get it out.
That's amazing.
Oh, that is
It
good.
made it a lot more fun.
You did it very well.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
that was great. All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you guys all. Love you.
See you later.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
4 parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really wanna talk about this. 4 parents, 9 kids, some queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here. 4 parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really wanna talk about this. 4 parents, 9 kids, some queer. One thing's clear, there's no